laughing on 2 separate occasions, laughing at the girl who was raped. Kathy Shelton, that young woman, is here with us tonight. I think it's disgraceful, and I think she should be ashamed of herself.
Unbelievable. How is it that you can brag? This was about a rape of a 12-year-old girl, and the person accused, Thomas Alfred Taylor, accused of raping this young girl, Kathy Shelton, luring her into a car, and then these recordings that had not been reported, but Clinton suggesting that she knew he's guilty, and that, forever changed my view and my faith in lie detector tests. Kathy Shelton joins us now, along with her attorney, Candace Jackson. Welcome all of you to the program, both of you. Kathy, I met you the other night, and first thing I did was give you a hug and say I'm sorry for all you've been through, and I'll say that publicly because it's horrible. Are you there, Kathy? Can you hear me?
Yes. I'm sorry, I didn't know when I was supposed to come in.
No, that's okay. I said I saw you the other night. I gave you a hug. You told me a little bit of your story, and I told you then, and I'll tell you now, it's horrible what you've been through.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And it really, your life hasn't changed, has it? This has impacted you your whole life.
Yes, sir, it has.
Yeah, and it even affected your ability to have children, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes. The doctor told me it's a 99% chance that I couldn't have children.
As a result of this rape?
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about Hillary Clinton's involvement. We just heard the tape where, they needed a female lawyer, a fascinating case, and, this guy lured you into a car. To the extent that you feel comfortable, tell us what happened.
I was lured into a car, took it out on a road that I have no idea, screaming and crying, and I was being called all kinds of names, and before it was over, I was pretty much out. But there was another guy involved that they're not bringing up that was under the age of 18, so I guess they can't. But they both raped me, and I remember him saying, "You like it, bitch, don't you?" And
oh my God.
The last thing I remember pretty much is crawling, and they were coming back for me, and I ended up on somebody's porch, and a light came on, and it scared them off. And after that, I went out, and I didn't wake up for 5 days later. I was in a coma.
Now, Hillary
they
said...
had beaten me.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was in a coma because they had beaten me so bad when they were doing it.
Hillary Clinton says in this recording, this guy was accused of raping a 12-year-old. By the way, that's your life. And, of course, he claimed he didn't do it and all this stuff. And then she described the event. She was describing this 10 years after she had defended this rapist and, had a very complacent attitude. I had him take a polygraph, which he passed, which forever destroyed my faith in polygraphs, and then she laughed. So she's admitting she knew he was guilty or thought he was guilty. What is your reaction to that?
Well, every time I hear Hillary Clinton speak, she says she's for children and women. I think she's a liar, because if she was for children, she would have helped me through that. Instead, she put me what no 12-year-old would go through. I had to take a lie detector test. I had to look through a window and identify these guys. I had to take a evaluation at a psychiatrist center. I'm sorry, I forget what this called.
Yeah, no, you got it right.
Candace, you want to help me there?
Yeah, because of the vicious lies that Hillary Clinton began telling about Kathy, and it's reflected in the court documents, Hillary Clinton petitioned the court to force Kathy at 12 years old to undergo all kinds of psychiatric interrogations and evaluations based on Hillary Clinton's lies that Kathy at 12 years old was fantasizing about older men, was inviting this to happen to her, romanticized the experience. It was ugly stuff that you would not expect from a feminist.
Let me read to you from a July 28th court affidavit, 1975. She wrote, Hillary Clinton did, that she had been informed the young girl was, quote, emotionally unstable, had a, quote, tendency to seek out older men and engage in fantasizing. I've also been told by an expert child psychologist that children in early adolescence tend to exaggerate or romanticize sexual experiences, and that adolescents in disorganized families, such as the complainants, are even more prone to exaggerate behavior. Now, we've got to keep in mind here, she's acknowledging that she knows or believes the guy's guilty, and yet she is doing everything she can do to further traumatize a young 12-year-old who was raped, that she agrees was raped, that she thinks is raped. Am I wrong in my interpretation? Candace?
That's exactly right. This is one of our very first early examples of Hillary Clinton's lifelong pattern of defending and protecting rapists and abusers of women. This is someone who holds herself out publicly as some kind of champion for women and feminists and engaged in the very tactics that are now banned in most states, the blame the victim of rape tactics that are now protected by most rape shield laws. You would not expect a true women's rights advocate to go after a 12-year-old girl in this kind of way, blaming her as the victim for her rape.
And it gets even worse than that, because she's also, at several points when discussing the crime lab's accidental destruction of DNA evidence that tied Taylor to the crime, she's heard laughing, because there was evidence in this case. There was from what I understand, blood and semen and underwear in this case. Am I wrong?
Absolutely true. The DNA test had been confirmed, had proved his guilt beyond a shadow of a doubt. And
I want you to backtrack here. In other words, they had matched his blood, his semen, from her underwear in this case. That was already done.
Correct. His semen and Kathy's blood were on the underwear, had been tested, had confirmed Taylor's guilt, and Hillary Clinton pulled a fast one and a dirty trick and sent the rest of the underwear with that sample cut out to her own expert in New York. And when that came back clean, because it was the rest of the underwear that did not have the samples on it,
who cut it out?
To go back into court.
Who cut it out?
Hillary and her expert.
In other words, you gave them the sample so they could double check the crime lab's proof positive that it was Kathy's blood and his semen. So you sent the evidence so they could double check it, and then they cut away the evidence that was there, or the part of the underwear that had the evidence, and then, in other words, they basically removed the evidence and sent it back. Sorry, we can't test it because it's gone.
Exactly, and that's what set her up to get him a plea bargain to get off with 2 months of time served.
So a rapist was set free. Did he ever rape again? Do we know?
Not that we've confirmed.
No.
But these kind of predators don't do it once.
I don't mean to interrupt, but Candace, I heard he did one more time. Somebody had told me that, but I'm not sure it's true. I'm not exactly sure, so I don't want to say
let me put you guys on hold for 1 second here, because I just want to come back and I know